Toy Chat is not a children's channel. This video is intended for adult gift givers and collectors. Hey guys, welcome to Toy Chat. This is Max.
And Fang.
And this is another episode of Collector's Corner, our podcast where we discuss hot topics in the doll and toy industry, centered on some of our favorite brands. So this might be a little briefer of an episode, but something very hot and very big has just dropped in the doll community, and we need to discuss it right now.
Yeah, it's very rare that a Monster High doll has not leaked in advance. So this was a total surprise.
I think the first one in a really long time that there wasn't some sort of significant leak.
Promo images.
The Us dolls leaked, Megan totally leaked.
Yeah, Megan actual doll leaked,
Yeah, so this one was a big surprise. So very recently, it was like the Monster High official Instagram account, socials, that dropped the reveal that they are doing a Monster High Skullector Alien doll based on the Xenomorph from the Alien franchise, the iconic Alien franchise from the very first movie in 1979 that spanned, several sequels, TV shows, spin-offs, crossovers, everything.
Yeah.
Fun fact, although the Xenomorph design did essentially debut in the original 1979 movie, they weren't actually coined as xenomorphs until the 1986 sequel, Aliens. The creature was literally just referred to as an alien in the original film.
I have not seen the
original trilogy.
Well, the last year was the first year I watched the original Alien as an adult. We do own it on VHS, but I only seen it recently as an adult.
I saw it when I was way too young. I had this whole story from my childhood. I snuck down and watched the full trilogy when I was way too young to watch it. It was horrifying. But yeah, the very first movie was very decidedly a horror movie because, of course, what Xenomorphs and the aliens are known for is they are parasitic, at least in terms of their eggs, their larvae. They grow in people, and that's a huge concept of the original, Aliens. Sang and I we're not anywhere near the most educated, informed people on the lore and details of this franchise and these characters. But yes, there's going to be a Monster High Skullector doll based on the Xenomorphs, which of course have a very iconic look as well, with the protruding kind of head crests and stuff like that, and elongated heads.
Marge.
Yes, literally, and huge tails. So we're going to be sharing our first impressions of this doll. It's going to be available very soon. It is dropping on October 16th, 2025 at 9 a.m. Pacific, early, exclusively for Fang Club members on Mattel Creations, and then the 17th is when it's going to be available to the general public.
Are you still a member?
That's a great question. I think so. I'm pretty sure I am. But this one had, people are gagging over this doll. Normies are talking about it. I've seen it all over Twitter. People who are not Monster High fans, people who are not super into dolls are talking about it. I would say because as a whole, this is a xenomorph. This is very much a xenomorph. So I would say even if you're just a fan of Alien and the Alien franchise, this would potentially be of interest to you. So she is, I do not know for sure if Rebecca Shipman, very famous Monster High designer Rebecca Shipman, I do not know if she's the sole designer of this doll, but she definitely played a hand of this doll. And of course, the Mattel sculpting team did a phenomenal job on, Rebecca herself mentioned that she believes everything here is unique sculpting. Some folks have been saying they think it looks like she's on a body type that is similar to the Monster High Big Sister sculpt, but this is definitely the sculpting is really intricate.
Yeah, and the price point does justify that as well. She's $85, we believe. I think the standard for a lot of like the one figure Skullector dolls were like $65, I think. So she's definitely a higher price point than the other ones.
I don't know if Sang and I realistically will end up reviewing this.
I want her.
Yeah, but even so, even if we were to, we'll get into that. But so we're just definitely going to get into our thoughts now. As we would for a review, we'll start kind of with the head, the face. So what I did not know when I first saw this doll is, yes, she does have an actual doll face that has like a dome like helmet, like a visor that kind of creates, you know, the Xenomorph head aesthetic. I did originally assume this might have been based on the Xenomorph Queen, but I actually don't think that's the case because none of the postings or media for that for this specify that. And also the Xenomorph Queen has a unique head crest shape. This is like the standard, pretty much like elongated Xenomorph head. What's really interesting is she does have hair under there. There is hair underneath her helmet.
Yeah.
And it is really giving kind of like Marge Simpson when you look at that.
Yes. And then her face, I know it's a unique face sculpt, but she does remind me a lot of that, like that Nova girl. The one that came with a playset.
Astronova?
Yeah.
I think Astronova.
Yeah, where like she floats with like a magnet.
Other people have been making that comparison. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does seem a little similar.
It's like the large eyes, and you
that.
see like the galaxy in her eyes.
For sure, yeah. And it does look like she has like an extended, like, this is for sure a unique sculpt. Because it's like even the back of her head itself protrudes a little bit in the back, and you can kind of see the Xenomorphs have that, like, they almost look a little bit like gills, kind of like on that one side of the back of their head. Very cool. Her face is great. It's kind of interesting that like it's hard to see details in some of the promo images because the promo images are really dark. And this is obviously, this doll is almost completely like black. But her face looks really cool. And we are right now looking at, by the way, in real life photos shared by the Dolly Paints on Instagram. You know, shout out to them, give them a follow. They mentioned they have access to this doll in these photos because they are friends with some of the collaborators on this project. Yeah, head is super cool. The body is also crazy. We can see bits and pieces of the body sculpt through this outfit.
It's a very sheer dress.
It is, and she has a really cool breastplate looks like the rib cage, which again feels very accurate to the original Xenomorph design. And she's wearing a dress that a lot of other people have been making this comparison, but I thought of it right away, like the meme of the yassified Xenomorph alien that was making rounds a while back. I actually think it was a lot of like political related memes that it was used for. But yeah, it is giving that. It does look like a really cool dress with a kind of like a train, but it's also like the split. Mm-hmm. It has like a long split that goes all the way up to like the upper thigh.
It makes sense. Definitely you need to showcase this tail coming out as well. Yeah, it has like a really cool like metallic pattern as well on the panels of the dress.
Really cool,
yeah.
Like iridescent. It looks like the little baby Xenomorphs, kind of. Really awesome design. It looks like there's, you know, some, of course, like stylized things that I can't, there's one little thing I can't totally tell if it's supposed to invoke like a Monster High Skullet, but really cool dress. Definitely curious just because there's so many pieces here. The breastplate and everything, that definitely looks like plastic sculpting. But I would be curious if the dress, like how shareable the dress would potentially be with like other Monster High dolls. But it is a really cool outfit. Something else that was really exciting for a lot of Monster High fans as well. A lot of folks were really excited that for the first time in a really long time, they're not doing kind of like standard quote-unquote object heels that have become really common in Monster High Skullector dolls. Her shoes are really intricate sculpting of, it looks a little more like I forget what they're called.
Face huggers?
The face huggers, yeah. The little like face hugger aliens, and that's
where the straps are.
Yeah.
The straps are like the legs.
Which is really cool. I think it's a great reference to the Alien franchise without putting like, here's a little xenomorph as the heel. So this, it's cool. It's kind of just looks like, some of the pictures we're looking at here are not super crystal clear, but it looks like really intricate sculpting. And of course, she has the xenomorph tail.
It looks like it's bendable. It doesn't look like it's just a hard piece, which is
that
nice.
Would be great.
Yeah, it looks like it's different. And maybe it's just the angle, but it looks like it's bent differently in some of the photos.
That would be really nice if that is the case. Hopefully, it can move to some extent. But
the original Torali's tail was bendable, but later on with the later releases, it was just kind of hard plastic.
Yeah, and then of course she has a thematic backdrop.
Yeah, like the packaging is really cool. It definitely invokes the iconic xenomorph pose and like the still from the movie.
Yeah. How are we feeling about her? What are your thoughts?
I think a lot of collectors are really excited. I'm one of them as well. I think her price point is a little high, but looking at her in more detail is definitely, seems like they really focus on making a very unique doll. And I really appreciate that. So in a million years, I wouldn't have thought Alien would be a series that they would have focused on, because it's not a humanoid creature. So it's actually really cool. It's very creative. And it's still kind of Monster High once you remove the helmet piece. I mean, $85 is a lot, and it's gonna come out to like $100 with shipping and handling, but I think a lot of people will be trying for her, so.
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a really rapid sellout. I think she's beautifully designed. It's also really cool that her dress there's that little fabric piece over the torso with kind of like the cutouts, the opening, so you can see the body sculpt. So it still kind of represents the rib cage-esque like anatomy of the xenomorph.
I think they really made a point to make sure to show off they're really proud of the bodies.
As they should, yeah. But I think it's still a really great outfit. There's nice little pops of like iridescence and holographic. She looks really cool. My personal knee-jerk reaction, I definitely feel like this is one of the Skullector dolls that falls into a similar category of almost like the Nightmare Before Christmas Skullector dolls, where the Monster High spin and influence feel really minimal, and this is very heavily a direct iteration of the actual character. Like, this is a straight up xenomorph. I think it definitely gets a little more Monster High-esque when you remove the little kind of visor helmet. It would be really interesting to see what her hair is like down or washed or anything, if anyone wants to experiment with that. She's really cool. This is very much giving total xenomorph to me. So I feel like if you're a big fan specifically of the Alien franchise and the design of xenomorphs and stuff like that, you could be really into these. This one almost feels more like action figure adjacent as well because of that, maybe a little more so than a doll. It's really awesome. I was a little more on the fence with her just because objectively phenomenal, really cool doll. She doesn't completely align with my personal taste. I'm not the world's biggest Alien fan follower, but it's a really gorgeously designed doll. I completely understand why people are just dying over her. I'm definitely anticipating this being a really rapid sellout, so it's going to be really interesting seeing how long she's available for. I do also kind of like the way they have her posed in box on the prowl, like lurching almost kind of pose, which I also feel like is accurate to xenomorphs. But yeah, this is a very cool doll. It also looks like her body sculpt, her face and body and everything, have a little bit of a sheen to it.
Yeah, it looks like there's some kind of like glitter compound.
Which is cool. This also strikes me as a doll, especially because like some of the promo pictures are so dark. I feel this doll might pop a little more in person or like with the right lighting. So going to be very exciting to see, you know, once people actually start getting her. The reception to her has been overwhelmingly positive. From what I've seen, I don't think I've seen a single person like not like her. This is definitely one of the creepier kind of like grotesque leaning Monster High dolls. So but I think that's also, it's awesome because a lot of the Monster High collectors who are like horror fans, I think will really appreciate this. And the Skullector series has, you know, leaned into that side of the fandom a little more, which is awesome. Definitely let us know your thoughts on this doll. She is really cool. Hopefully, you know, at least most people who want her will be able to get her.
Yeah, if you want her, I hope you can get her.
Yes. Yeah. But thanks so much for joining us for this little conversation. We had to, you know, talk about this specifically. There's like other stuff going on in the world of Monster High, but this conversation was just about this.
Yeah.
There's, you know, more stuff coming from us, so stay tuned. But yeah, let us know what you'd like us to discuss next podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.